day, brethren. The good captain from CapnsKustomWorks here with another episode of my beer reviews. It's a beautiful summer's day out today. The hops are growing at a rate which I fear I may no longer be able to contain them. And it's howling wind outside, and the roof of the garage studio is being absolutely pelted with maple seeds. So hopefully you can hear that and get a little bit of a kick out of it. Now, a thing that I'm going to get a little bit of a kick out of today is this fine brew, I certainly hope, Imperial Mutt Brown from the good folks at Stone out of Escondido, California. Now, if you've been paying attention, and I certainly hope that all of you have, you may know that I've got a little bit of an admiration for the fine folks at Stone Brewing Company. I try not to let it color my views too much, but really, these guys make great beer, and so I have high hopes for this. We're just gonna hope they can keep up with that, because this is a style that I wouldn't go for normally. I'm not much of a brown ale guy, and one of the things I found really interesting in reading the label here, Stone always packs a ton of info under their labels, is they kind of pointed out that this is a brown ale for the non-brown ale sort of guy, and I said, well, hey, that's me. Interesting thing about this came out of one of their annual competitions that they have, in which they pair up some of their brewers and try to come up with a collaboration, and everybody votes on what's great and what might go into production, and that's awesome of them. I love that about Stone. These are the kind of guys that they're not trying to play it safe with their brewing all the time. They put out some really interesting things. That being said, they put out a lot of wonderful, wonderful things. And I would have to say that every single brew I have had from Stone has either impressed me thoroughly, which is obviously great, or if it's not one that I say this is a great beer, I at least can say that is very, very interesting, and I'm glad that I tasted it. And you know what? If you can say that you're a little richer for having tasted a beer just about every time, then you're having a good time. That's what it's supposed to be about. If you absolutely liked every beer you ever tried, well, that life would get pretty bland awful darn quick. So, at least these guys are doing some neat stuff, sometimes some weird stuff, but they're having fun with it, and they generally make me happy. So before I ramble on too much again, and make a big mess out of everything in my studio, because that's what live television is all about. This isn't really live, you know that. I'm joking with you. This is YouTube. If you thought you were watching live television, then I have some sad, sad news for you. I don't want to be the guy to go ask your mom or something. Anyway, I'm going to pour this beer because I'm going to get a little crazy, you know, just out of happiness for this beer. Maybe a little fast on the pour there, unfortunately. Can't help it if I'm excited. There's a heck of a head there. There's also a heck of a cascade on that. Wow. That's kind of impressive. This might be a hearty beer. That being said, it doesn't look too thick. Not exactly stout thick. There's some transparency there. I can see light, no problem, but it is a pretty thick looking, hearty colored beer. Ooh, smells good though. Smells like a little chocolatey, which I do believe they mentioned here. They mentioned what all they had in here, and it sounded good. Oh, this is the point that I wanted to make. So it's got, it says Vienna, Victory, and chocolate wheat malts, and pleasing refined sweetness from honey malt, and an ingredient I love, turbinado sugar. Now, I'm not saying that all beers should have turbinado sugar. Far from it. It's not the kind of thing you use absolutely liberally. It's the kind of thing that makes a really, really nice flavor when it's used in the proper context. And in a brown ale with some chocolatey notes, this sounds interesting. It's a deep, bold flavor. Gonna have to taste it. That's a pretty foamy head, by the way. If you can see that, I don't think that was purely a mispour on my part, even though I did pour a little fast. But that's a foamy head. Foamy head, chocolatey sweet smell. You might fool some people into thinking they got a nice stout here or something. Oh, you might indeed. You might indeed. This is going to turn into a commercial for Stone. I'm sorry. I do try to be objective, but that's a good beer. I'm a stout guy. Like I said, not a brown ale guy. So it was a little, how's this going to be? But as a stout drinker, this appeals to me. This is deep and dark and sweet, but not too sweet. Nice and chocolatey. That's amazing. If somebody handed me this, I would never imagine that they would classify it as a brown ale. I really wouldn't. Given that it's just translucent enough and not real creamy, I wouldn't imagine it might be a stout, but I'd say certainly in the brighter, sweeter of the porters. Not a dark bitter porter, but one of those chocolatey ones. But that's impressive. I love these dudes. Specifically, I should give a shout out. Drew and Steve are the two brewers who collaborated on this particular blend. And they won their company contest for it, as well they should have. Good on you, sirs. Oh, I'm going to just ramble incoherently, if all you good folks let me. So instead, we're going to get to your favorite part and mine, and if it's not, it should be, the accelerated motion. Oh, alright, brethren. Now, before anyone goes accusing me of anything, I didn't short you any. There's still a little left, because we're going to discuss this. Oh, look at that. Just beautiful. I'm so happy right now. This is one of the more delicious brews that I've had in a little while, I think. Wow. Some of you might have expected that going in. You're like, oh, Captain loves Stone. He manages to sneak in a mention now and again, even when he's reviewing other beers. It's not because I love Stone so much. I do love Stone. I do. But these guys do so many things well. It's hard not to use them as a benchmark, as a point of reference, sometimes. And that's not just surveyor humor. Like I said, they consistently please me with what they put out. And even if it's not something that I would say I want to drink this all the time, like I said, there's always something about the experience with their beers that has always made me say, well, that was a really, really interesting beer. And this, this is no different. That was very interesting. Like I said, if somebody just handed me this glass and said, try this, you'll like it, I'd take a big old swig and I'd say, this is amazing. This is a great porter, is probably what I would think right off the bat. It's not. It's a brown ale. Yes, there's some overlap and, big Venn diagram of beer styles, but there are some technical differences between the ways different beers are brewed, and that's what makes it interesting, that you can brew a beer using a particular style that would typically yield such and such result. And through playing with the recipe and the technique, but keeping some of those elements that make it this style, you can say, it's actually this, but it's got a lot of the qualities of this. And that's what brewing is all about. It's the experimentation. It's just like cooking, because it is, because that's essentially what you're doing. A lot of people are more familiar with the concept of, well, I can take this food and I can cook it this way. We can do crazy things. That doesn't seem weird to people. Not as many people have the experience of really delving into beer. A lot of people are just like, oh, beer, right? Yeah. There's some folks that are like, I don't really like beer. I used to be one of those folks. I wasn't a big beer guy until I discovered that good beer existed. Not enough people know that good beer exists. More and more people do every day, but still not enough people do. It's the same way that I feel about wine, and I'm, not ashamed to say that. I have not gotten into wine that much. It doesn't grab me that much. I know there's amazing wine out there, but by and large, when you go somewhere and it's like, well, here's this wine, it's like when you go to a bar, you go to your down the street bar, they might not say, we got this great thing in from Stone today. They'll probably just say, oh, you want a beer? Let me pour one off the tap. But that's changing more and more every day. More and more places are saying we have these interesting beers. And that's great. That's what it's all about. That's what it should be about. So I couldn't be more pleased with this beer. I'm really, really happy. This is a good beer. I am so thrilled to have been able to drink this today and to share the experience with you guys. Thanks to my good buddies at Woodman's that help keep me supplied with this stuff. Without them, I might not have good beer. There's other places in the area that carry good beer, but by and large, you folks know, because I keep driving the point home, those guys are the best for my money, and they keep me happy. And also, with the public service announcement, like I try to remember to tell you every single time, please be drinking responsibly. If you can't drink responsibly, you shouldn't be drinking. If you're not drinking responsibly, there's no reason to drink. It's just what it comes down to. And on the down note, that's how you make content. So thank you all for joining. I'm point out again one other fact. This is 9% beer. I did not get to that. 9.0 alcohol by volume, I do believe. It is. So, not the sternest thing in the world, although Stone makes some pretty darn strong brews, but it's it's up there. It beats your, generic canned, so, suitably stern for a relaxing beverage. I missed a lot that I wanted to say about this because I was so excited, and then because my opinion was not unfounded. This is great, man. I wish I could drag this out because this was amazing. Oh well, time to stop rambling. Time to let you guys get on with your beverages, your meals, your day, what have you. I'm gonna take the last swig of this here. So good. thank you all for being with me yet again. And we're going to speak to you all in the real near future, whether you like it or not. Much love.